Hey, welcome to Mooney Reads. My name is Beck, and today I'm going to be doing the Finally Fall book tag. I was inspired by Sage over at Sage Reads and Angel over at Jurassic Reads after seeing both of their tag videos, so I will put their videos as well as the original in the description. And this tag is basically to hype up fall and talk about fall related stuff, so I'm 110% here for that. The first prompt is, in the fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. And for that, I'm going to pick the Dark Crystal graphic novels. It's been at least a year since I've read them, but I really enjoyed them. I started the novel series when I was vlogging a while back. I talked about starting the first one of the novels, which focuses on different characters, but it's all a part of the same world, and that is all the same world as the Jim Henson production of The Dark Crystal, which I really loved as a kid. And the world is just so neat. I'm usually not into high fantasy. It takes me a long time to really get into it. But since this was something that I really liked in childhood, I think it gave me a motivation to really understand everything. And being able to piece together basically all of the pieces of this planet's history is just really cool. Prompt number 2 is, nature is beautiful, but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written, but deals with a heavy topic like grief or loss. And for that, I have 2 books. They are 2 of the best fiction books that I've read this year. I have The Sheep. Wow. I have The Seep by Shanna Porter and The Death of Vivek OG by Akwaeke Emezi. The Seep is a very character-driven sci-fi story. There are a lot of metaphors. I put in so many tabs, and I don't frequently tab fiction books. I loved everything about this book. You can see me totally freak out about it in a vlog if you would like. But this was just really excellent. And the whole, I didn't even really tell you what it was about necessarily. Basically, this alien technology comes to Earth and totally changes everything. Society ends up being structured totally differently, and the technology brought a lot of different advancements. And the main character is having to contend with some people's choices that they make due to these advances. So this whole thing is about grief. And I fell in love with it. And then The Death of Vivek OG is Akwaeke Emezi, who I absolutely adore. I read their other 2 books in June, and like the title says, it's literally about this person's death. This book covers several different perspectives looking at Vivek OG's life and death. There's so much that I have to say about this book, but I don't know how much would be considered spoilers. But it is just really excellent. Prompt number 3 is, fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. And for that, I'm going to go with the nonfiction book that I most recently finished, which is Stepping Off the Relationship Escalator, Uncommon Love in Life by Amy Gahran. Most of this is based off of a study that Gahran did looking at people who are in non-traditional relationships. And she talks about different ways that relationships can be done. A lot of this centers around non-monogamy and polyamory, but there's also a whole lot about people who are even in kind of monogamous situations that are just really different and kind of goes against our societally preconceived notions of what a proper relationship should look like. Even though I'm kind of familiar with some of the stuff that was in here, I still learned some new things. I would recommend it if you're interested in this, and I will note that it does discuss ace and arrow people, so it's inclusive of that, which is really great. Prompt number 4. In order to keep warm, it's good to spend time with the people we love. Name a fictional family, household, or friend group that you would like to be a part of. And for this, I have On a Sunbeam by Tillie Walden. This is such a fantastic book. I think I liked it so much that I accidentally talked about it in my mid-year freakout tag, even though I read this towards the end of last year. I was that overwhelmed with how good this is that I needed to talk about it for whatever reason. But the friend group that's in here is a group of people who are going around and fixing up old planets, old places around the galaxy. And I absolutely fell in love with every single character in here. They all have their own unique personalities, and the way that they interact with each other is just really wonderful. And the way that they stand up for each other, no matter what, it's just really sweet. It's if you like found family, I think that you would like the group that's in here. This is just a really great book in general. It's a sci-fi and it's extremely gay. Prompt number 5 is, the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall-colored spines. Here's my fall stack. We've got kind of yellows, golds, and then kind of orange and red. In the stack, we have Hamlet, which seems very fall to me for whatever reason. Probably the ghosts. We have The Time Machine in the World of Worlds by H.G. Wells, which is a little bit spooky. Aliens. Nevada by Imogen Binnie, which seems like it should be kind of autumnal to me, partly because of the cover, but also like her biking around. The beginning seems more autumnal. The second part seems more summer, and I'm sure that's wrong. I think that's just my brain mapping stuff weird, because that just does not make sense. So it probably doesn't really fit, but it's orange. And then we have Felix Ever After, which is kind of this orange-red color. This book takes place in school in the fall semester, so it's technically fall that way, even though it gives me summery vibes, especially since Pride happens. But again, it's red, so it's in the stack. Prompt number 6 is, fall is a perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein someone tells a story. And for that, I have The Marrow Thieves by Cherrie Dimaline. There are a number of different chapters where characters tell their own stories. And this is very much influenced and based off of certain Native American traditions, indigenous traditions. There are lots of themes in general that I think definitely heavily come off of that and play from that. This is a great book in general. This is a dystopian that actually really surprised me, just because I feel like a lot of more modern dystopian stuff all plays off of the same tropes. The person who's the main character is always the one who's going to save the world, and there's some kid who's got to either be trained or go off and fight a war. But all of these people are on the run, because in this story, indigenous people are being harvested for this magical element that's found in the marrow of their bones. So this is focused on one person who, at the beginning of the story, is running away with his brother. I don't want to say too much more than that, but it is really great. If you want to hear my thoughts on it, I do talk about it in a wrap-up. However, I heard about this book from Brody over at Etu Brody, so I will link their channel in the description, because you should definitely listen to what they have to say about it. And I think the video that they talk about this, there are more dystopian books. So if you're interested in that, it's either dystopian books or dark books. Either way, just check out the channel. The next prompt is, the nights are getting darker. Share a dark or creepy read. I have 2 answers for this one. One is more of like an old favorite or something more traditional, and then the other one is a little bit newer. So first, of course, we have Edgar Allan Poe. This is a complete works of Poe that I've had since like middle school or high school. This is dark, it's creepy, without being too long or too scary. I'm kind of a baby. But, you know, Edgar Allan Poe is a classic. And then the one that I read more recently is The Girl on the Other Side. And this goes between being very, very dark and very, very wholesome. I really adored this book. I gave it 5 stars. I honestly really can't wait until I'm able to get the other volumes of this because it was just so good. I think that it, even though I'm not really sure what season it necessarily is, it very much has the fall vibes. Especially because there are like the creepy elements, and just like the artwork. And like even the way he's dressed, I guess it's like maybe Victorian vibes. I don't know. I'm kind of just rambling, but this is really great. It's definitely creepy, but the creepy alongside the wholesome just makes it a really interesting experience. Prompt number 8 is The Days Are Getting Colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up someone's cold and rainy day. And for that, I have Mooncakes, which is an essential fall read. This is very witchy, very warm, but also very cute. It involves a witch and a werewolf who have to figure out what's going on because someone is trying to use the werewolf's magic in order to do something dark. So there's that kind of plotline going on as well as a romance between them. So it's very queer. The werewolf is non-binary. I love this. I'm obsessed with it. I read it for the first time not actually that long ago. It's only been a few months, but I think I'm going to end up rereading this in October, especially because it is such a perfect autumn read. I mean, even down to the clothes that they're wearing. Like, look at that. There's so much cozy. There's plaid. And you can see her outfit here. Everything about this room is just chaotic and cozy. I'm obsessed. But anyways, Mooncakes is the book that I chose for this prompt and has the most fall vibes. The next prompt says, what the fuck did I write? Oh my god. I can't fucking read. Okay. Prompt number 9. Fall. Prompt number 9. Fall returns every year. Name an old favorite you'd like to reread soon. And I've got a couple of things that I've considered rereading. A few that have been, a while since I've read. But the one that would most be considered an old favorite, and also happens to be another autumnal stack, is the Guardians of Gahul series by Catherine Lasky. This is a book series that I really liked when I was little, probably between 3rd and 5th grade. This is basically a dystopian series with owls. I'll read you the back of the first book because I remember bits and pieces of how it was, but it's been so long I'll probably describe it incorrectly. Soren is born into the forest of Taito, a tranquil kingdom where barn owls dwell. But evil lurks in the owl world, evil that threatens to shatter Taito's peace and change the course of Soren's life forever. Soren is captured and taken to a dark, foreboding canyon. It's called an orphanage, but Soren believes it's something far worse. He and his friend Gylfi know that the only way out is up. To escape, they will need to do something they've never done before: fly. So begins a magical journey. Along the way, Soren and Gylfi meet Twilight and Digger. The 4 owls band together to seek truth and protect the owl world from unimaginable danger. And I have the first 6 books. I think it goes beyond this, but I don't think, I guess I finished book 6. These seem very fall-ish to me, partly because there's that dark element, partly because the aesthetic, owls in general seem very fall. We've got more owls, and proof that I've had these books since elementary school because my name was all over them. But at some point, probably sometime next year, I do want to do a read through of these. Prompt number 10 says, fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. So, to start off with, to get cozy, we need sweaters. We need lots of sweaters. They need to be chunky. They need to be kind of soft. So this is a really good one. It's thick and it's soft. This one is extremely autumnal, and I love like the big, I don't knit. I crochet a little bit, but that doesn't mean that I know the terminology. I have a soft spot for really loud patterns, so stuff like this is really great. If I don't look like a granddad from the 1990s, what's even the point? I also, a good cardigan is great as well. This one I particularly love. Alongside sweaters, of course, you also have tea or coffee, something nice and warm. Giant cozy blankets are also great. Super, super soft ones like this. I don't know what the fabric is called, but when it's really, really soft and my cat always wants to lay on it, these are the best types, just because they are so soft. Also, I forgot to grab a pair to show, but fuzzy socks are really great. Really soft socks, ones that you probably wouldn't usually wear in shoes unless it was like literally the winter outside. All of this stuff is honestly could also be put in winter as well as fall, but it all kind of blends in together. It should be, cozy. All of this is cozy. Then the last prompt is to spread the autumn appreciation and tag some people. I'm really bad at tagging people, which I think I say literally every time I do a tag video. But I think this time I will step outside my comfort zone and tag a few people. I'm not sure who yet, but you will see their information in the description box below. If you want to do this tag, please do it. We need more fall vibes. If you've read any of these, definitely let me know what you thought about them. And if you have any fall favorites, let me know as well. And thank you all so much for watching. Bye.